What's up, Taurus? TT is here for another channeled message for all of my Taurans. This message is specifically for my introverts, my introverted Tauruses, with a lot of dreams, a lot of dreams and visions of the future, who have a strong spiritual inclination. Okay, Spirit is showing me that the only thing that is obstructing the manifestation of your dreams or the manifestation of your visions is obligation. There's an obligation or a duty that you have that makes it very difficult for you to be able to give everything that you can to this aspect of your journey. Okay, it's like you have to work, you have bills, you have responsibilities. Some of you can have your workload is really big, or you have a lot of responsibilities, and if we were going to be realistic, it feels like none of it is connected. It feels like none of it has anything to do with the other, but Spirit is calling me to let you know that they're all connected some way, somehow. The obligations that you have, the duties that you have, is preparing you to be able to carry a very even larger workload. It's helping you to be able to do so many things at once. It's like it's building up your physical vessel to have like the stamina to go the distance. Whatever this is, there's something about the stamina to go the distance that you need in order to see this in fruition, especially if you're an introvert and you're not really comfortable with working with other people. There could be people in your environment that aren't healthy for you, or it feels as if you empathically pick up on whatever emotions that they're going through, whatever things that they're experiencing. So you may recluse even more. A lot of these energies around you, the divine has been making you aware that they aren't who you thought they were, that they aren't operating in the highest level of integrity. So in this space or in this time, there's a reason why Spirit is revealing all of this to you. There's a reason why Spirit is using these people to help you see how empathic you really are. Some of you experience phantom mediumship pains, where it's like if they're having headaches, you're having headaches, and that's because you're in their auric field. Or if they're going through emotional distress, you're going through emotional distress, and it's because you are empathically, your gift is so sensitive. All right, so I'm seeing messages come to you in the form of people or interacting with people, and you are being guided to master this ability to maintain your auric field or your level of peace while you're going through this transition or while you're connecting with other people. A lot of you aren't in this space of really wanting to see this part about other people. It's like you don't really want to be bothered. You don't really want to be mingling with these type of people anyway, but there is some type of learning experience on your journey that you're meant to acquire. All right, so if these messages resonate with you, Spirit is empowering you to create with this energy. Use these energies as a way to express yourself. Something about you strengthening your stamina, your ability to speak out loud, to really tell those people what they're experiencing. And it's supposed to strengthen some type of ability that you have, Taurus. For whatever reason, it's all connected. A lot of this has to do with family. Okay? Their connection to you may block your creative abilities, or it may enhance it. It just all depends on your ability to kind of discern and see exactly what this entire experience is intended to show you, teach you, or prepare you for. It's something about if you can get past this energy, or if you can be around the worst type of people, or if you can be around the most low vibrational people, then you can go anywhere. You could do anything. There's nothing that would obstruct you. There's nothing that could really disrupt your peace, no matter where you are or who you're around. It's something about taking home with you, or realizing that home is inside of you. It's not outside of you. So If you are new, welcome to our Love Nest over here on Talk Taurus Tarot. And if you're returning, welcome back, you guys. One of the major things that, let me give you an example, okay? I'm going to use myself as an example. In 2022, I started a Patreon on my Talk Tequila channel, right? And I started the Patreon, and I really didn't have a lot of Patreon followers. But a part of my tiers, I offered daily all sign readings. I offered a lot of different things. So because I started it, regardless of how many subscribers I had or how many people were actually on my Patreon, I focused more on creating than I did the reciprocity of it. And for a year straight, I did the Patreon, and only one person was my Patreon member for an entire year. That channel that I did Patreon on, where I created a YouTube account that I held all of my Patreon videos on, right? So when I decided to deactivate my Patreon account and really ask myself, okay, now who do I want to communicate with, and where do I feel guided or called to assist the collective? That Patreon YouTube account became my Talk Taurus Tarot account. One of the things that the account did is I had a year worth of content that was never public. Okay. A year's worth of content that was never public. One of the things that I was able to develop was the ability to read a lot faster through practice, the ability to commit to something even though I wasn't receiving any validation, confirmation, or reciprocity financially, okay? However, when I decided to turn this into a live account and deactivate my Patreon account, that year worth of content didn't have the views, it didn't have anything, but it was getting a lot of activity. So by the time I made my page active, things moved a lot faster. Now, we could say that it was because I was already uploading on the channel, or from the spiritual aspect. What really allowed me to be able to facilitate both channels was the Patreon account that I was practicing on for the past year. So that year was very crucial in my ability to deliver messages, my ability to do so many different things at once. Whether those were personal readings, my main channel, Talk Tequila, this channel, TikTok, it strengthened my psychic muscle, which allowed me to be able to perform at an optimal rate or optimal speed. So whatever you're doing right now that may feel like you're overworking, but you're still obligated to it, it may be very overwhelming, and you may be not sure if you should still proceed with it. Spirit is saying you're being given the spiritual fortitude right now. You're being given the physical stamina right now, and eventually you were going to see how all of those things led up to this moment for you, or all of those things helped you come to this point on your timeline. So everything that has happened thus far is preparation for something, and you may be asking yourself, am I really getting what I'm worth? Am I really doing the right thing? And the answer is yes. So that's a confirmation for whoever needs that confirmation. And we're going to get Spirit's message to you. A lot of you are conquering some type of fear, okay? Or you're balancing out your shadow, okay? What is this? So let's say, for example, there's things that you're going to talk about, and it could be a little controversial, right? There's things that you may share about yourself, and it may come with a lot of backlash, or it may come with a lot of things that trigger your shadow. You may deal with a lot of projection from other people, okay? But it's something for you to reflect on. It's like pieces to a never-ending story, or pieces to a puzzle that really helps you see the facade, okay, not only in others, but in yourself. And that is going to help you determine exactly what your integrity is, exactly where you want to put your energy, where you want to express your emotions, whether it's light or dark. That's what Spirit is saying. All of it is relevant. Enlightenment. No matter what the experiences are that you have went through, you're free to manifest this for yourself. I'm picking up yin and yang energy. There's a reason why the polar opposite exists, right? There's no good and there's no bad. If you perceive things to be good and bad, right and wrong, this or that, you're really limiting yourself. You're really limiting your perspective to a linear type of perspective. And I feel like Spirit wants to help you expound on how all of these things are connected. Why is it important that the energy of negativity exists? Why is it important that we go through periods of dissension or ascension? Why is it important to go through periods of loss, right? And in that year of me also taking care, also doing Patreon, in that year of me also having my main channel, I went from a period on my main channel where it was a lot of growth, there was a lot of prosperity, and then it stopped. There was a lot of energies that connected with me on that channel that necessarily didn't like the type of message that I was given, whether that was YouTube, whether that was the spiritual community, whether that was other readers. None of it matters. All of those energies prepared me for what I needed to do today. At the same time, I also was going through being homeless. At the same time, I also was going through health issues with my children and myself. And even though all of those things were going on and I had to travel, nothing stopped me from being able to show up for my Patreon channel. Nothing stopped me from being able to show up for my YouTube channel or anything for that matter. Okay, I didn't allow the excuses of my personal life to be the reason why I didn't continue pouring into something that I knew that I loved and I knew that I was supposed to be doing, despite the reality of the situation, despite the lack of support or energy that was being reciprocated towards me. I was doing it because I knew I needed to be doing it for whatever reason. I had to maintain a level of optimism. And in taking on those responsibilities, my commitment was also being tested. Spirit was also testing my ability to be able to stick to something no matter the trials or tribulations that was thrown my way. And then the right people, the right supportive people like yourselves showed up. One of the big things that you will notice on this channel is I never asked anyone to like, subscribe, or to support this channel. I believe that when you are tapping into your spiritual calling, regardless of the variables that are always fluctuating, right? People come, people stay, people go. That's their right. That's what they're supposed to do. We're not supposed to be so possessive to the point where I'm expecting you to be loyal to me, or I'm expecting you to always show up, and if you don't, we have an issue. No, none of you belong to me. None of us belong to each other. We choose the season in which we come into these contracts with each other, and then we have to be willing to let each other go, blossom, and grow. And there's times where we're called to support one another, and then there's times where we're not. Regardless, it has to be something. These events are here to teach you that a contract will be exactly what it is supposed to be. A contract. Some of our contracts are 3 months, 6 months, a year, a lifetime. Does that mean that the person no longer loves you or that they don't support you? No, that means that they're called to go somewhere else. So new people can come in, so the shift can happen. As we assist each other throughout these paradigm shifts, it's important that we remember our own integrity within our shadow, to make sure that we're not allowing our shadow to distort our perception around why we're doing it. Okay, because sometimes our shadow can make us feel in denial about the reality of this entire matrix. All right, sometimes our shadow can distort our perception, and we can start to believe that everything that we're experiencing is a direct reflection of the person that is or isn't supporting us. And that's a deflection, or that's a distraction of an event that's created to trigger your shadow and to teach you and to show you that you have a mask that you're wearing. Your mask in that particular type of scenario is contingent on the reciprocity. It's not based off of the heart chakra and your true emotional devotion to something. It's based off of if that person is treating me right, if that person is doing things that I want them to do. It's based off of superficial things of our consciousness that says the physical manifestation of things is the only determination that something is real. If you can only perceive from the physical realm, you will block your spiritual foresight, you will block your spiritual awareness and enlightenment that spirit is always trying to open us up to if we're willing to embrace it. Yeah, we break up, we get back together, we move on, we find new relationships, we come back in unity with the other relationships, and it's a revolving cycle that's 365 days a year. And everyone that you ever come in contact with, some shape, form, or fashion plays a significant role in this consciousness awareness, leaving you open, leaving you forever changed, helping you see protection from a different realm versus it being just karmic or not. You know what I'm saying? Because with Syrian, this is showing me a part of growing up is realizing that karma is in everything. So this perspective of you can avoid karma at all costs if you always make the right decision is your own projection. Okay, it's coming directly from your shadow. This perception that you can control even that realm is going to make you have like mental overload, and it's going to really make it difficult for you to be able to open up to the rest of the world and perceive another reality. So let's get some tarot and see. Spirit, can you show me shadow and optimism? What's your message with shadow and optimism? Origin. Yeah, there's something about the origin of who you truly are. And our shadow is a compilation of everything we've ever did not want, right? So think about a computer software, right? You know how you have a computer software and anything you no longer want on your computer, you throw it in the trash. Sometimes we empty out our trash bin on our computer, or sometimes we leave it piling up, right? So our shadow is like our trash bin on our computer. If you go through that trash bin, you'll start to see maybe there's some things that you overlooked, right? Or maybe there's something that was meant to teach you something and be an experience for you, but you wouldn't allow the contract to do what it was supposed to do. You wouldn't allow the person to do what it was supposed to do. So you discarded the person. You got rid of that relationship, or you got rid of that experience and never looking back. Okay? When we deny ourselves the reality or the awareness, that the trash bin is always going to be on the computer, whether we empty it or not, we put ourselves under this delusion, right? We put ourselves under this denial. We take on aspects of a fantasy that isn't real, that isn't true. The trash bin is always going to be there. It's an important part of processing, and it's also the origin of where everything began. So let's say the part that we didn't like was a person. Let's say we had a relationship and we didn't like that relationship with the person, so we put them in our trash bin. Well, in that trash bin also holds the origin of what that person was meant to help uncover or reveal about yourself. So if you were to go back into that trash bin and you were to dissect the person and extract them from the trash bin and ask yourself critical questions like, what about this person triggers me? What about this experience with this person? What was it meant to teach me? What was I meant to learn from that relationship? I feel like in those types of scenarios, a lot of times that person may trigger a wound where you weren't allowed at a young age to really express yourself, or you weren't fostered to blossom into the person that you really could become. That relationship with that person may have triggered that aspect of, you know what, I don't know what to do. I don't have the answers. I don't know really how to navigate this relationship. All I know is it makes me uncomfortable. All I know is I feel blocked. I feel like I can't express myself. That person, the real origin of that emotion stems from your childhood, of you not feeling like with your family you were able to freely express yourself. Like you weren't able to really see life in a different perspective. So that person triggers an emotion, which then stems back to a point in time in your past, or in your childhood, or in a past life, where at a very crucial age, when you were very expressionate, when you were very open, that light was blown out, or that ability to just be free was taken from you. Your vitality was stolen. You can get it back. Just like any trash bin, you can move it back to your computer, and you can process each experience one at a time. Spirit is not saying that you have to go back to those people and you have to say anything to them. But if you're able to extract the lesson, right? If you're able to extract the actual core origin of where it all began for you, then you can do the shadow work necessary to help you lay it to rest, right? Give it a proper burial. Plant something, new seeds with those memories in a positive way. So even though the experience may have been triggering, even though the experience may have been hurtful, all of those experiences are gifts of abundance. All of those experiences are gems. They are tokens for you to cash in on and create from, right? And so on this journey, as you are being initiated to go back to the origin, and you're being initiated to see, what about your birth chart says this? What about yourself has shown this in a pattern? These are all just patterns, right? If you notice, when an email comes into your email, it's like on a pattern. It'll keep coming to you at the same time every day, whether it's spam email or whether it's emails from people that you don't want. It's on a filtration process that will continue sending it to you until you click it. And if you never click it to see what it's trying to tell you, then you're going to be stuck at just saying, oh my God, I'm tired of this spam. I want this spam to stop. The spam is trying to tell you something. Okay. That's what Spirit wants you to know. The spam is trying to tell you something. Your outlook around optimism is distorted. Creativity, creative. Some of you believe that you can create, right? Some of you believe that it's like you want to create, you want to bring something into fruition. But it's like, even as I'm trying to explain what exactly that blockage is, it just feels significant to like a frog in your throat, or significant to like, when I move away from a situation, then I can start doing what I want to do. When I get a better job, then I can start performing the way I want to perform in my other areas of my dreams. When I'm around the right people, then I can be my best version of myself, right? When my environment reflects the reality that I want to live, then I'll start to believe it. Optimism acts as that you have a shadow of a doubt, that you don't have a shadow of a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, that's what optimism acts as, that you have this type of outlook on what you're doing, like open, free, that no other moment is optimal, no other time is better than today. Even if you don't have enough time, even if you have a lot of work on your plate, even if you're pretending to be okay and you know that this is a problem area for you, it's still the right time today. And when I say the right time, it doesn't mean that maybe you won't start sharing it with other people, but you can start creating, right? Maybe you won't start publicizing it or putting it on a public platform, but you can start doing it. But in order to really align you to that future self that you know that you know is already yours, those blockages have to be removed, and you have to be able to exist without a shadow of a doubt that you know that you are in alignment with it. So when we ask certain questions like, is it gonna happen? Right? Should I do it? Those are questions of doubt. If you have to ask yourself, is it going to work out for me? If you need that type of reassurance or that type of confirmation, your physical self is saying it, you're affirming it, but your subconscious mind, it ain't connecting, it ain't linking. All right? So you're aware of it because you're being told it on a physical realm, right? But the subconscious mind is saying that there is something in my subconscious mind that is preventing me from believing it. There is something in my subconscious mind that is restricting me from, believe that it's happening to you. Like it's actually happening to you. Especially if you've waited a lifetime for a moment like this. The song just happened to pop up on the TV. So, for example, you hear all the distractions in the background. There are distractions that are going to be around you. There's people that's going to be talking. There's people that's going to be moving. Should you focus on removing the people, or should you focus on giving yourself focus, right? You should be able to channel and read as a reader without anyone else around you obstructing your ability to connect. My children could be talking. I could hear them. All right. I can hear them, give them a telepathic message, continue channeling, and nothing obstructs that connection. And a lot of times people believe that you have to have this quiet space and it has to be serene and everything in order to really give the divine your all or really connect with spirit on a more deeper, profound level. That's a lie. It's a lie. And that's coming from the perspective of people that have to control something that is limitless. Wanting to control imagination is like trying to bottle up the entire ocean and telling a person to drink it. It's bullshit. High level bullshit. This is what separates the two. You can't fix this. All right? You can't fix it to happen the way you want it to happen. And yes, manifestation to a degree is also an ingredient. I'm not saying that it's not an ingredient. I'm not saying that it's not an important aspect. But there's certain levels and there's certain heights if you want to maintain your integrity and you want to be able to receive all perspectives. Okay? A 360 view from an enlightened point of view. You want to be able to see how it's all connected. You want to be able to see a bird's eye view. You want to be able to shift between first, second, and third person simultaneously, all at the same time, being able to perceive all levels of it, even in your own human experience. Okay? But if you doubt it, okay, it's like leaning on the facade itself versus the creation. The aesthetics will come, and I'm using readers as an example, but this applies to everything. Even if you are an artist or you are a painter, a writer, none of it matters. The modality doesn't matter. We're all connected. The message still applies. Okay? One of the synchronicities here is sexual expression. Expression in general. authentic. So if you're meant to teach people or help others release sexual fears and be more authentic in their own sexual expression, you have to be it in its rawest, tantalizing form. You have to be the erotic energy unapologetically. Okay? And truth be told, if you are someone that already is doing that and it's already picking up for you, you're already working on that shadow and you're already aligning to that future self that you are connecting with and being present in the moment in, then that part of the message, of course, wouldn't be for you. And your shadow shouldn't call you. All right? If your shadow is balanced, your shadow shouldn't call you to feel as if you have to confirm that for anyone else, right? My mom was telling me something not too long ago with my brother, and he was saying to her, I'm intelligent. I'm smart. I'm this, I'm that. And she was like, okay. And he kept saying, no, I'm serious. I'm really intelligent. And he just kept repeating himself over and over again. So she says to him, she says, can I tell you a secret? And he's like, yeah. So she told him in his ear. And she said that she told him, when you really are intelligent, you don't have to tell anybody. You just know. And that's the energy that I'm picking up right here. When you just know, you don't need validation anymore. When you just know, you don't need confirmation anymore. When you believe without a shadow of a doubt that you are who you say you are, you just be. And that is coming from another Taurus, okay? So this idea that you have to remind people of who you are comes from an origin of being ashamed for what you are, what you were then, and being unable to feel seen as the person you always were from the very beginning of your incarnation, from the very beginning of past life incarnations where you may have struggled with that same inner knowing or something like that. And that's where the Two of Swords energy is coming from. Nine of Pentacles. A lot of times we can become a prisoner to our own independence, and you are able to find resource and strength in all the things you're able to multitask and do, right? We do this all the time. I have a great job. I have kids, or I have a great job. I have 6 dogs. I balance everything out. I stick to a schedule. I do things. I dot my I's. I cross my T's. I'm perfect. Right? These are things that we find strength in to empower us on a physical plane. These are things that we utilize as ways to continue persevering, right? And continue moving forward despite the things or responsibilities or obligations that we have. But a lot of times it creates a shadow. And what we're unable to see is that we're afraid to let go of juggling all those responsibilities. Right? Let me give you an example. When I was younger, in my household, I had the type of family members where they didn't support the things that I was happy about doing. They couldn't resonate the things I was interested in, or the ambitions that I had, or how independent I was even as a young child. However, I didn't have any fear, or I didn't feel trapped by my family. It wasn't until I started to add on a responsibility of being a mother where I started to really realize that I did have something that I considered a weakness. I did have a fear. I had a fear of not being able to be a good parent. I had a fear of repeating the same karmic lessons that was done to me, right? That's one of the biggest fear for anyone, is that I'm going to pass down and do to my children the same thing that was done to me. It's a normal thing being sentient beings, right? However, the moment that I went through an experience where I couldn't balance work and take care of my children with health issues and continue to maintain certain things that made me feel confident and made me feel strong as an independent person or independent woman, I began to feel stuck. I began to feel like I was doomed to experience nothing more than going to work every day, going to the hospital, and repeating the process every day. My lifestyle started to become very mundane. But one of the things most especially that I held on to is, Keela, no matter what, do not lose your sense of independence, because you cannot fall on your family. You cannot rely on someone else to take care of you. It's a buggy bug world out there, and someone could get hurt. And if you have the responsibility of taking on your children, and we don't live in that community society where the next person sees your children as their children, or you can trust anybody, those are the optimal amount of fears that will always be the thing that binds us and keeps us stuck in a bubble. Prevention keeps us stuck in a bubble where we're only able to perceive the constructs of our reality. And if our reality is reflecting that there's no one there that will ever have your back the way you would have it for yourself, then that's a very lonely road to walk. And it's a very strict, cruel way to treat yourself. And I'm saying that from my own personal experience. There is another way, right? And it was through me losing everything and hitting rock bottom and going to a space where I had absolutely no control of my stability or no control over the stability of my children, where I was able to give myself grace, where I was able to say, I give it all. I give it all to God. I give it all to the Most High. Whatever is to come of me, I trust you beyond measure. There is no measure. There is no fear. And in that space, I was able to unleash myself. So when family came around, whether I was up or I was down, I could let it hang all out. You know what I'm saying? I was able to let it hang all out. I no longer cared. If I was having a good day, bad day, I no longer cared if my household or my so-called accomplishments were able to be seen or recognized. At the end of the day, I replaced fear with joy. I replaced misery with happiness. And those key inputs set me free. We have 8-8 here. So my comforts was my fear. My fear of losing my comforts became the thing that binded me to repeating the same lesson over and over again. I wasn't able to see that I was living up to an expectation that I never was born with, and I was living up to a standard of existence that was artificial and not organic. And in that space, I found beauty. I found beauty in me not being able to keep up that facade, to feel worthy enough. It was a facade. And in that space, I realized that I didn't even matter. That I only mattered because I gave it a meaning. I gave my matter, my flesh, a meaning. And I adorned it in so many different truths based off of my fears. True statement: if you aren't able to pay your bills, you lose your home. True statement: if you make the wrong decision, you will go through uncomfortable experiences. These are all true statements. But those true statements don't have to be the sword that you empower so greatly to the point where it becomes a sword that you put yourself, you you place around you like the Eight of Swords. Each sword represents a true statement. Now you're living in the house and you don't even know why you're spending so much money to maintain this big ass house, but you wanted it because you were out for so long. You were out of the clique. You were out of that classification that confirms that you made it, that you're stable, that you can manage and juggle these things on your own. And then you become a stranger in your own home, unable to really enjoy the relationship you're meant to have with your home, the relationship you're meant to have in the ebbs and flows of existence. And then eventually there's so much true statements and swords anchored in your subconscious mind that no one else is able to come in, because you're forever trying to prevent catastrophic events, prevent breakdowns, prevent karmics from being able to disrupt your peace. Looking for home outside of yourself. And not all of us will attain this level of perspective this lifetime, and we're not all meant to. We're not all meant to. And that still doesn't make it wrong or right. That still doesn't make it bad or good. It just makes it is what it is. They say this ounce of cure is worth an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's what this is. I can prevent everything. Empowering your control, your need to control your reality. But what if you tried to embrace the discomfort of your reality? What would that look like? You may not know because it's unfamiliar to you. But on the other side of that lesson, on the other side of sitting with your shadow and integrating your shadow, you will be able to see that there is another option to you. There is another way to perceive this experience, even if it's in the realm of people. I'm seeing a message for someone as well that may be thinking, when I become independent, or now that I am independent, it's supposed to assure me that my person can come in because I'm independent, because I'm stable. That again is another true statement, but it also prevents you from allowing that person to come in, the right person to come in. You're only able to attract what you are, and that is what's happening here. That's the cycle that's happening here. Because I've placed so much value and so much expectation on my level of independence and my level of status in the world, I'm only going to attract the type of people that were created as the opposite of you, to break down those constructs of your reality. But when you no longer use that reality as your crutch or as your expectation, you become open to attracting loving people that feels unconditional, that feels like it's not contingent on the status quo of your existence. Look at that Ace of Wands. Especially when it comes to sexuality, there's a message here for someone that places a lot of that value or worth in the ability to have sex. Okay. That this is something that when the right person comes along, they're the only ones that deserve it. That's an expectation based off of those same true statements. That's a true statement because your past experiences has taught you that anytime you gave the attention to the wrong type of people, you end up having sex with them, and it turns out being karmic or a lesson involved and all those different things. But Spirit is saying it's not the act of sex that brought in that experience. It's the fear, the limiting beliefs that attracted the lesson or the experience. Karma is not subjective. Karma is unbiased. Karma says this is an area that requires your attention. Even we as shamans, spiritualists, leaders, we have to constantly be able to go within our trash bin on our computer and ask ourselves what limiting beliefs still exist there, what limiting beliefs still plays a factor in what I do or don't do. And the physical connection of intercourse, or the physical connection of inspiration, or how we connect with it, is our limiting belief. Let's talk about it from a business standpoint, right? Or a creative expression of what it is that you do. Sometimes we can become so fixated on maintaining our brand, or the brand that we started with, or the name that we want to have for ourselves, that we empower that physical attachment. We empower that physical connection, and it becomes our limiting beliefs. Because if you gave it no name, or if it didn't have a face or an image, it still wouldn't discredit what it is that you do. Because what you do is who you are. And until your reality reflects who you are at its purest, tantalizing form, the more and more fear that we'll have to combat, the more and more limiting beliefs we'll have to constantly work to deconstruct, so we can reconstruct a new trajectory, a new point of reference. So this divine timing isn't a punishment. It's an experience intended to teach us something, and only you, as the expression of that existence, can determine where your limiting beliefs lie and what facets of physical reality have you given way more glory, recognition, or expectation to, being unable to see how it's all connected, leaving you in a space of being in agreement with the denial, being in agreement with the facade, being in agreement with the fantasy. Spirit needs us to see that we're the ones picking and choosing our limiting beliefs and committing to them. Working hard and not smart. Look at that. There's a wake-up call here. A wake-up call here to recognize the truth. If you notice that when the divine and spirit channels, whether we're speaking to our ancestors, our spirit guides, our angelic realm, or the Most High itself, source consciousness, when you ask, what's your name? I can almost guarantee you that you will notice a pattern where they'll say, some people call me this, some people call me that. The name doesn't matter, but whatever you feel comfortable calling me, that is true for you. Never to discredit the other person down the street or the cat down the road that believes different than you. That's becoming caught up in limiting beliefs. Well, if that person over there is saying Jesus, that person over there is saying Yahweh, and this person over here is saying Allah, this person over there is saying Punta Cana, at the end of the day, your connection, what you experience, will always be the only true statement. The image you have, the truth you know. And when you are firm in that conviction, and you know what it is that you have initiated yourself into, or that you personally agree with, you liberate yourself. You free yourself. And you open up to divine opportunities that you can move forward with in confidence. That's when you reach a space of divinity. That's when you reach a space of authenticity, which is the only thing spirit is encouraging from us, really. Like, no pun intended. No pun intended, but Spirit is saying it's going to be what you make of it. That's what separates a leader from a follower. Are you a leader or are you a follower? But sitting somewhere in between, well, I am a leader and a follower, is going to it's going to create fears and limitations that prevents you from being able to prosper. The Empress. This is beautiful. Look at all these Ace of Pentacles. Look at all these pentacles. There is no cups out here. This is inspiration with what you have and what you can do. And let me talk to those of you for a second that is feeling like I only have this, or I've already started this, so I should continue doing that. This is about becoming comfortable with failure. This is about becoming comfortable with failure. And no longer being afraid of failure. It's going to show up in so many ways. It's not a punishment. And some of you are looking at your choices and you're reflecting on your decisions in the past and you're saying, oh, I know why I was punished. I was punished because I did this. That is a limiting belief that was given to you by the church, that was given to you by religion. Those are man-made constructs designed to keep you exactly where you are, believing that you were punished, not even just yourself, but even ancestrally, over and over and over again. What you give your attention to, your focus to, you will manifest. I believe I don't have enough, or I believe that I attracted this experience because Spirit told me not to do X, Y, and Z, and I did it anyway. Therefore, I'm being taught a very valuable lesson. What Spirit is saying is that you keep associating it to the physical person or the physical choice or the physical decision that you made. But really, it goes back to your origin. It goes back to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is creating this spinning wheel that you've pricked your finger on. So every person that comes around you, you start analyzing, is it worth your investment? Is it worth the loss? You start processing cost analysis from a logical perspective, but you're applying logic to imagination. Those two things don't compute. So you acquire more knowledge and more knowledge in culture, more knowledge in religion, more knowledge in all well-versed aspects of existence. But even without all that knowledge, the part you're trying to get to is the subconscious realm. And that is your subconscious mind. And what does the subconscious mind interpret? It interprets feeling. It interprets images. It interprets what you give it, it creates from. That's the feminine energy. That's the divine realm, the divine feminine realm. So the question is, in what ways are you initiating these limiting beliefs on your subconscious mind? And how can you communicate to your subconscious mind a different reality without limits, a different reality without restrictions? What would that look like? Some of you, this journey will take you back in time, and you will travel back in time, and you will start analyzing your relationships with people and analyzing what they were meant to teach you. And you will start uncovering that it was all connected. And it was never a destination. It was only a realization that you are the creator. Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups. Balance begins. Peace begins. Patience begins. You understand moderation. Not that you can experience both aspects of enjoyment of this reality. Not that it's about moderation. Yeah, I can drink in moderation. Yeah, I can smoke in moderation. Yeah, I can have sex in moderation. Yeah, I can do different things in moderation. Yes, I can have friendships and relationships in moderation. There's nothing wrong with that. We go in and out of contact all the time. It's not a punishment. This is an inner calm, a perspective that allows you to have an inner calm that's untouched, unbrittled. True strength and authority from an empowered standpoint of your divine feminine. Serenity. Look at that. The manifestations. Boom. See, this matrix has told you that it takes years, it takes months, it takes all these different things. What it takes is you knowing exactly what to work on. No one's giving you the root work or the remedy of the programs in your subconscious. So how will you ever know? They're only telling you the outcome. Of course, I can predict the outcome. It doesn't take a mind reader to do that. Those are common principles, cause and effect, universal laws, inductive reasoning, which is all you've been given. The outcome. I just want to know how it ends. How it ends is irrelevant if no one has empowered you with the true statement, and the only true statement that you've always had a choice. They're not going to tell you that. Because it's easier to continue keeping you sick. It's easier to keep you on this wheel. It's easier to have you on this rat race. It's easier to have you torn between what's real and what's fake, what's good and what's bad. You know, what's a lie and what's a truth. Because you keep the world spinning. You keep the paradigm going. You keep lack consciousness alive. You keep lack consciousness alive. The greatest lie ever told. And also the lie that was given to you that you agreed with at a very young age in your development. Restricting you from your connection with the divine and replacing that connection with your direct relationship with your parents. Scriptures in the Bible that speaks about the honoring of these things. Yes, they are true. But who do you go to first? Your family, the church, the people, mankind, or do you go straight to source? Someone told you that you had to go the long way, and there was always a shorter way. This is the greatest magician trick ever casted over the entire collective. Utilizing you as the creators of this expression of existence to hurt yourselves over and over and over again, which is only another form of what is that? Insanity? Doing things over and over again, expecting different results. So Spirit has only guided me here today to channel a message for you that you do not have to continue to agree with the insanity of this dimension. You do not have to continuously agree and compromise your integrity to push an agenda forward that you don't agree with. You can decide at any given moment that you're ready to conquer these limiting beliefs and step into your own divinity and give your subconscious mind a new reality, a new perspective. And it will be uncomfortable and it will take work. And you will meet a lot of different demons. You will meet a lot of different, and when I say demons, what I want you to understand is that a lot of the attacks that we experience, right, when we feel like we have to protect ourselves and things like that, it's really just our shadow. Think about everyone's shadow that has been repressed, ashamed, denied, rejected, blocked, placed into the dark, forgotten about. And your shadow is all the things you once wanted or loved stuffed into a trash bin. Spam has been found. Spam has been created, and that spam has created a whole layer of existence that then attacks you by day, by night, in the subconscious mind, hidden from you because you can't see it. Your head is turned. Your consciousness is unable to perceive that which it cannot see. But really, the enemy that we feel is such the devil, and the enemy is really everyone's shadow running amok. We created it. We created the terror in our universe. Every single time we went through trauma, pain, it created a terror, and it created a creature from that terror. And that terror is our shadow. That terror is our denial, our shame, our resentment, our regret, our guilt. Living expressions of spiritual existence. So a lot of times it be your own shadow fucking you up. But if you take that an intrigued perspective towards confronting the shadow, you'll see that all your shadow ever wanted all along was to just be acknowledged and to just be integrated and to no longer be ignored. It wants to be set free. It has empowered us in so many forms, but it also is bucking back. And anything that's oppressed for so long and forgotten and abused and treated poorly and demonized, of course it's going to fight back. Of course it's going to say, you going to see me today. You going to recognize that I am a byproduct of your creation. So Spirit is holding each and every single person on the planet Earth accountable for the way we speak, the way we interact with one another, ourselves, and most importantly, our subconscious mind. So let's get a closing message. So what's your closing message to Taurus? Oh, that just popped right out, didn't it? It says patience, Heron. Excuse me. Create a place in nature's stillness and be renewed. Take time alone to find balance. Step confidently towards your purpose. Patience will bring you rewards. Bottom of the deck, you have Loon, intuitive. Listen to the song in your soul. Trust your intuition as you have a way of knowing. Emerge from the busy life and seek more solitude. Recognize that you are unique and that you are loved. Last but not least, we have Revealer of Truth, Coyote. Don't take things too seriously. Make time to play. Great wisdom comes from laughing at your own folly. Look out for the traps and tricks of life and learn from them. Wolf, Pathfinder. Release your past and start a new journey. You are a teacher and help others find their way. There will be challenges, but your soul is strong. Perseverance is your secret power. You have a love that endures. Taurus, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.